Peace, y'all. It's the Lord here, Cold World. I'm over here kicking with the guy, Jay Wiggs. What's good, baby?
It's good, Brody.
Can't call it. Just want to welcome everybody to BST 20. Another episode of Brodies Sports Talk. We are on episode 20, moving right along here. At 500,000 views and counting. So we definitely want to say thank you to all the Brodies out there for your love and support. If you aren't following us, you need to follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. You need to click on the bottom right-hand corner and like and subscribe. Show your love there. Things are turning around. We actually had a pretty good week this week. BST 19 did over 4,000 views for that episode. I think it was mainly because of the mock draft series we're doing. Got a lot of feedback off of that, so definitely appreciate your love and support again. Need to be following us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, and click on the bottom right-hand corner and show your love here. But to go ahead and get started, we're going to be discussing the aftermath here of the Final Four for the ladies and for the men. But if you didn't see the championship, you would have thought that Florida actually did their due diligence. They did everything that their coaches wanted them to do. They checked all the boxes and they won the championship, right? They fought hard and all that good stuff. But if you actually watched the game, and like I've been saying for these past few weeks, if you've been living under a rock, you would know that the championship was heavily influenced by officiating. So with that being said, our first segment here is Houston, we have a problem. The refs decide championship. And basically, again, if you didn't see the game between Florida and Houston, you would have saw what most people would say is a high defensive game. Very, very defensive, low scoring game, which was expected from two of the top defensive teams in the country, particularly Houston, since they're the number one defense. But one of the things that just rubbed me the wrong way, if you will, was the discrepancy in officiating. So in the first half, they had 4 fouls called. So initially, you're thinking like, hey, you know what? They're going to let the boys play. It's just going to be one of those gritty games where the last possession counts, right? But then in the second half, something happened. I don't know. Maybe Vegas or the higher ups came down at halftime and had a conversation with the referees and said, we need you guys to pick up the pace with these foul calls or something. I don't know. Because they went from 4 foul calls in the first half to 26. And not only did they go from 4 fouls in the first half to 26 in the second, 19 of them were called on Houston.
Damn.
Okay? Now, the pace of the game may have been flowing to the point where it's like, you know what? I'm not even noticing all these foul calls being called on Houston. But what sparked my interest, Wiggs, what made me catch on to what was going on was in the second half, they had a 19-second span. I went and recorded it and winded it, bro. In a 19-second span, the refs called 3 fouls on Houston. In 19 seconds, 3 straight fouls.
I think I might know what stretch you're talking about too, because it was pretty evident that the refs were like doing something in that moment.
Yeah. It completely changed the momentum. It completely changed the game. Now we said this last week that Houston had a bunch of grown men on their team, but they couldn't play because they were on the bench because they were in foul trouble, and it made them go small to a smaller lineup, which affected their game plan. Now I'm not going to sit here and say that that Florida didn't get any calls on them as well. That tech call that they had when the bench, got riled up, that spawned a little bit of a run for Houston, but they leveraged it again with poor officiating. So I guess my question to you here, Wiggs, is, did Houston get cheated or did Florida legitimately win?
I think Houston got cheated, and I think this is something that's prevalent in a lot of the leagues. Hold on, man. Hustle fam is
stop texting the group.
Right. Yeah, man. Like, goddamn. All right. Hey, you know it's Grady too, man.
Yeah,
But
wow.
oh, man. So yeah, I think Houston did get cheated. And I think it was the refs. Like you said, to go from 4 fouls in the first half to 20, 26, 19 of them being on Houston, it was pretty clear that the refs were trying to do two things. One, make the game close again, because Houston was busting their ass. Like, they were up by 12. And with the way that the game was going, with it being a defensive game, 12 points is a lot. So you could tell in the second half, the refs were like, all right, we need to, one, at least make this game competitive, because if not, people are going to turn the channel. So that's something that referees are always trying to do. We have to remember, this is entertainment. At the end of the day, you can say this is college sports. You can say that this is something that this is entertainment. And when entertainment is involved, we can tell that these leagues know how to protect their product. So one thing these referees know to do is keep the game and the score close. So that's one thing they were doing. And another thing they were doing was, like you said, Co, just changing the way that the game was played. Two things I noticed in the game. One, when they play these championship games and they change the floor, where the floor is elevated, I think it's throwing the players' shot off, because the players were missing like shit. Like, they were bricking, and it was like, why are we playing on this surface that we never play on ever, just so y'all can add a couple more seats into the stadium? So one, I noticed they were missing a lot of shots.
Yeah.
And then two, like you said, in the first half, they were letting the boys play. They were playing gritty. They were playing scrappy. And both teams were playing like that. Like, it was a really good game.
Yeah.
Houston was just winning at that game. So I think what the ref said was, okay, let's change the game. And in the second half, you saw it. When they made those 3 calls within 19 seconds, you could see after that, Houston just wasn't playing as aggressive or as aggressive as they were in the first half. And Florida continued to play as aggressive because they weren't getting those same fouls called on them in the second half. So you just saw the whole game plan change. And yeah, I think Houston got cheated. Now, of course, Houston missed some shots late in this game. The final shot, for one, being they didn't even get a shot up. Like, you completely choked. I think LJ Cryer led Houston with 19 points, and their next highest was 8 points. Somebody else has got to get in double figures, and that's the game right there. So for Roberts not to get in double figures, I'll mention Walter Clayton for Florida had 11 points and 7 assists, and he had 0 points in the first half. So, he's the one that people are saying is kind of like the Steph Curry of the tournament. Really good at shooting threes, but to have 0 points, to get 11 in the second half, he responded. He did what he had to do. They also had Condon with 12 points and 7 boards, and Richard with 18 points and 8 boards. So Florida did what they had to do, but the refs played a big part of this. Like I said, this happens in every league, so I'm just not surprised.
Yeah, very disappointed. I wish it would have gone a little bit more fair. I mean, if you're gonna call 30 foul calls, at least call 15 apiece. And an interesting stat with Houston, which like blew my mind even more, was they're 33-0 whenever they hold their opponents under 70 points. And this will be the first time that they've held an opponent under 70 points and still lost.
And lost, yeah.
So it just shows that the refs definitely played a role, and it's definitely unfortunate. But congratulations to the Florida Gators, man. I mean, a win is a win. They're the national champions. This was the first time in a long time where the Final Four featured all number 1 seeds. So, congratulations to them. But it's clear that the refs definitely helped them. But, let us know what you think about that there, Brodies. I'm not the biggest college basketball fan, but I did pick Houston to win and against Florida, but it just came up a little short.
You got both teams in the Final Four, and again, Houston kind of blew it. Again, I'll blame it on the refs, but you can say Houston blew it as well. But no, that was a great pick by you to get Houston over Duke and Florida over Auburn. That was a really good pick by you, Cole. I was like, yo, we got to talk about that on the show. So, nah,
Yeah,
shout out to you for that, man. You
yeah,
called that
but
one.
until next season, Brody's, Florida's is the king of the hill. But switching genders, we got the ladies of the Final Four, and UConn, uh, as usual, wins another championship. But this was the last year for Paige, so rightfully so. This next segment will be called "Turn the Page." The impact of UConn's win, and also how it's going to affect the upcoming WNBA draft. For those who have been following the Brodies, Wiggs is been all over this. He's definitely the expert here when it comes to the WNBA. He's very knowledgeable about everything. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to talk a little bit about Paige and her impact on college sports, the UConn championship win, what that does for the organization and the dynasty, and then also her draft status as far as the WNBA, along with some other players that are going to be joining her. So, to kick things off here with that, there, Wiggs, where does this win for Paige put her as far as like one of the all-time lady college basketball players?
Wow, that's a good question. Well, first, let's start with just UConn because when you look at just UConn, some of the players were there at this game. Maya Moore was there. Diana Taurasi was there. I don't know if my girl from the Minnesota Lynx was there, but a lot of these UConn players are not just like scoring champions; they're like 2-3-time champions. I think Diana Taurasi won 3 chips while she was with UConn. So
Yeah.
Before we even get to the rest of the college legacy, just staying at UConn, Gino Auriemma has 12 chips. This was his 12th championship. So, he's definitely in the conversation for best coach ever in anything. When you have 12 chips, you're considered one of the GOATs.
Pretty damn good.
Yeah, you're on that Mount Rushmore. So shout out to Gino. But as far as Paige is concerned, I don't know that I would say she's one of the greatest. She's one of the greatest players to ever play at UConn. I don't know that I would say she's one of the greatest players to ever play in college. In this decade, she is one of the best. But I want to see what she does at the next level, because I think that's something that somebody was saying about Gino's players is not only are they good in college, they're good at the WNBA level as well. So I'm looking forward to see what Paige does at the next level, because she got one, and again, she's had some injuries. She's had some things that have derailed her career. But to see her fight back and to get it this year as a 2 seed, we talked about the men's side being all number ones. The women's side was pretty much, right at the top as well. I think Paige defeated 3 number ones to get to a championship. So you beat 3 number ones, you're pretty damn good. So that does say a lot about just this run in and of itself. The only thing she didn't get to do in this run, and I think this does kind of, it's not a blemish, but, we would have liked to see her play Juju.
Yeah.
We talked about Juju being our headline before the game that they would have had against UConn, and us having to change that headline because of the injury. So that was a big one for me. But I definitely think Paige is one of the best players from UConn. I don't know if I would say college yet, but Paige is really good. Let's see what she does in the WNBA.
Yeah.
What did you think about the game, Nicole? Did you watch the game?
Not the championship game. That's another thing. It was hard to keep up because it came on at 3:00 on a Sunday.
Yeah, just real random. So that game came on at 3, and then the men's game came on at 8:50 p.m. Almost 6 hours apart.
I had to go to bed.
Bro, yeah, that was crazy.
Championship game coming on in the late
at damn near 9 p.m.
That's, I don't understand that. But
And then 3 p.m. on a Sunday, which is like that's prime time. Everybody's out. Like, Cole, you
yeah,
probably at Home Depot. Like,
yeah. We couldn't make Bed Bath and Beyond. I didn't have enough
you know,
time. You know what
come
I'm saying?
on, like, come
Yeah,
on.
we
3 p.m.
just
is
went to get some
crazy.
flooring, wallpaper.
Yeah, so both of those games were scheduled at weird times. Like, let's split it in the middle and go 6 o'clock. 6 p.m. That game comes on. That's right close enough to prime time. You run your errands by then. Like 6 p.m. Let's make it. That's when the Super Bowl comes on. Was it
Right.
6:30?
Yeah,
6:30 for the
6:30.
Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's the time.
Now, speaking of, TV and ratings and things like that, this is a stat that I thought that was pretty interesting. And we've said it before. We called it the Caitlin Clark effect. Last year, the championship this year, with UConn and South Carolina, they only did about 8.5 million viewers, about 8.5 million. Last year, they did about 18, 19 with Caitlin Clark. So for all the lady athletes out there, for all the lady athletes that are hating on Caitlin Clark, I want you guys to know that you are literally shitting on your cash cow. You're complaining about not making enough money. You want to make the same amount of money as the NBA players. She's going to help you get there. You're not going to make 200 million anytime soon per player, but at least her stardom is it should propel you guys further along the lines for you guys to be able to get paid more money. And the viewings between this championship and last year's championship is a clear indication that Caitlin Clark is a cash cow. Now, if you look at it, the draft class of 2020 had some stellar players. They had Caitlin Clark, they got Paige, they had Angel Reese, and baby girl, the thick baby girl out of South Carolina. I forget her name. I just know she's just big to the mother. What's her name?
You're not thick, baby girl.
I don't know her name, but she's thick to the mug, but like, not thick like delicious.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, she a big girl. Like she looked like she could hit the A gap, to quote the great Kevin Samuels. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, yeah.
But like literally five people out of that draft class won 4
And they're all good.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Outside of Caitlin Clark, but she's the one that's bringing in the most viewership. So like with the 2020 recruiting class, would you consider that to be one of the greatest recruiting classes in college basketball history, considering they produced 4 championships?
Just women's or women's and men's?
Women.
Okay, just women. I would have to really, really go back and look and see some of the classes. Like I know, I think when Cheryl Miller was out, I want to say she played at the same time as Sylvia Cooper, and that's them two alone. Yeah. That's a nice class.
Yeah.
But Paige and Caitlin Clark together is tough. Like that's a nice class. Those two right there alone is really good. And then we see Angel Reese. Like Angel Reese is so good. You just have to give her credit. It kind of reminds me of Draymond Green a little bit. Yeah. But she's better than Draymond. I would say her impact is a little bit more than Draymond, but Draymond's good. Like as much as annoying as Draymond is, like you have to give him his credit. He has an impact on the floor.
Wiggs, you're telling me you're going to take Angel Reese over Draymond Green?
And I'm trying to think of offensively. I think Angel averages more points. But I think Angel gives you a couple more points on offense. And I think defensively, Angel plays hard on defense. I think Draymond is a better defensive player than Angel because Angel gets a lot of her rebounds off her own misses. But I like her aggression, so she's also scoring points. Like she's getting a couple more points than Draymond. But no, go ahead, make your case, Cole. You taking Draymond over Angel?
I mean, I'm clearly taking Draymond over Angel. I mean,
okay.
There's no.
I mean, listen, Draymond is playing with Steph Curry. Steph Curry, KD, Klay Thompson, like he's playing with the best of the best.
But
ever.
those are offensive players. He wasn't asked to be an offensive player. He was
Angel,
just a facilitator and a defensive player. But like,
and Angel's a champion. I said Angel Reese is a champion. She won the chip in college.
Yep, and she also won the
she beat Caitlin Clark.
Championship.
She beat Caitlin Clark.
Yeah,
like Angel's resume is no joke.
No, I'm not. And let me make this perfectly clear out there, Brodies and Brodettes. I am not shitting on Angel Reese whatsoever.
We know you got a little history with Angel, Co.
But the reason why I have an issue with her is because she's good. Don't get me wrong. She's good. Okay. She's an athlete. She's a pro player. Like I said before, she could probably beat me, right? And, she has a high chance of beating me, right? I understand that. I'm not.
She's busting your ass, Coach. We
don't know that.
Busting your ass.
We don't know that. We don't know that because I'm telling you right now, my pride won't let me lose. Okay, I'm telling you right now. The minute she misses a wide open layup, game over. But
because you're gonna quit. You're gonna be like, "Hey, my knee."
I'm gonna grab the board and I'm gonna hit her with the sham guard, the crossover, because she's too flat-footed. I'm gonna cross the mess out of her, and I ain't played ball in years. But anyway, my biggest plight with her is that it's not the defense. She plays very good defense. She's a great rebounder, obviously. My issue with her is it's kind of like with Shaq and Dwight Howard and their inability to shoot free throws. It's like I just don't get it. How can you not make a layup? You're literally right under the rim. What's the problem? Like, why are you struggling so hard with a basic
with the easy shot? Yeah,
I can see if she had issues with a jump shot or something like that. But you're literally right under the rim, and you're airballing layups right under the rim. You're hitting the bottom of the rim as you're under the rim, like basic stuff.
I think she was doing that on purpose because I think Andre Drummond. I think I'm not going to take it as far as stat padding as much as I'm going to say I think it's a strategy. Now, of course, the strategy is stat padding, but I think it's kind of I'm just thinking about the way she plays, the way she throws the ball up. It's like she knows she's good at rebounding, so she's like, I'm just going to give myself I'm going to give myself 3 chances at the basket, and I'm going to make one of them. Like, I don't think she thinks about field goal percentage and efficiency the way that somebody else that's a slightly better player offensively thinks about it. So I think, as a scrappy player, you kind of get those players that are like, they just throw the ball up at the hoop.
Yeah.
Like, that's just kind of how she is. But the fact that she can...
They just out there playing.
But the fact that she can get the rebound, I think she's kind of like, I'm going to give myself 3 chances at it. Like, I know I'm going to grab this board. Now, of course, skill-wise, she's not the best skill-wise. Draymond Green is pretty skilled. Like, I don't mean to make this a conversation between her and Draymond, but I think that is a good comparison because, you have to give both of those players their credit. Like, Draymond is going to be in the Hall of Fame because of his defensive effort, because he's scrappy, because offensively he can make a shot here and there. Draymond misses some shots that you're like, all right, come on now, Draymond. Like, you were going to the hole. You could have made this shot. And I think that's what Angel Reese will grow into. Again, she's a college champion. She beat Caitlin Clark. She's beat a lot of good teams. So, Angel deserves her respect. Yeah. Getting back to Paige, if I can I transition into the draft a little bit, Co?
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about next year's draft. The WNBA draft is coming up just next week. That's one thing that I love about the transition from the college tournament into the draft. And I think one thing we talked about in a couple of our past episodes was the fact that with the NIL, the players, the encroachment on players' contracts and where they're going to go next year, and the fact that it happens during the tournament. I didn't hear a lot about mock drafts during the tournament. Like, even though the draft is next week, the WNBA mock drafts weren't coming out earlier than they needed to. Like,
Yeah.
we can let people finish the tournament before the NIL starts. That's one thing about the NIL. But to get back to the draft, Paige is going to be number one. We know that. Next week on Tuesday, Paige Beckers is going to go number one to Dallas, the Dallas Wings. To talk about a couple other players, Kiki Arefin from USC. You know, she was the big that was at USC with Juju Watkins. I think she had 30 or 40 points in the game that Juju went out of. And in the game after Juju went out, they ended up winning that game to go on past the Elite Eight. And they lost to UConn. But again, they did pretty good for not having Juju. So Kiki Arefin is a top 5 player. Some other players I really like, Sarah Ashley Baker. I'm sorry. She had 45 points against Maryland in the tournament. And I was watching her highlights. When I watch these girls, because I watch so much NBA, I think about, I can see like certain men's players are the comps that come to my head. Like when I see Sarah Strong out of UConn, I think of Nikola Jokic. When I was watching Sarah Ashley Barker I thought about Kobe Bryant. She got 45 points in the tournament. And when I was watching her play and watching her ball, I'm like, she looks like a young Kobe. Like, she was very aggressive. And I think she's 23 again. One thing about these college girls is they're playing 4 years before they can get drafted. So they're developing their game a little bit more. We're seeing a more polished product when it comes time for them to be drafted. But when I was watching this girl play, she looked like a young Kobe. Like, and again, it's like when you see Juju's special. You can tell Juju's got a different type of game to her. This girl, Sarah Ashley Barker, if the Mystics don't draft her with one of their top 6 picks, I'm going to be very upset because she looks like she's going to be great at the next level.
They mocked it last year. We could have had Angel Reese.
We could have had Angel Reese. I like the girl that they have, Aaliyah Edwards. I'm going to say they didn't botch it, Co. This is what I'm going to say about Aaliyah Edwards. And this is where, again, Angel Reese, Draymond Green, you have to give them their credit. Angel Reese is more aggressive than Aaliyah Edwards, but I think Aaliyah Edwards is more skilled. And I think as long as she continues to develop her aggression, like if she can play more aggressively, then she can be a better player than Angel. So I'm not going to say I'm going to give them another 2 years to see how Aaliyah Edwards progresses. And if she does make the progression, then I think she can be better than Angel. But if Angel gets more skilled, then I can say they botched it. But no, to just name a couple other players, we got Sonia Citron, who played with Hannah Hidalgo and Olivia Miles in Notre Dame. She's a guard with some good size, about 6'1". 6'1" guard. She can shoot the 3 at about 38%. So in the WNBA, she can be a 2 or 3. And with that size, she can play defense. So she's projected to be a top 5 pick. Anissa Morrow, a 6'1" forward out of LSU. She played with Flaugier. Took her team pretty deep into the tournament as well, making it to the Sweet 16. She reminds me of who's a player I can say a good comp for Anissa Morrow. A forward type of player, very good in the post. Maybe like a Paolo Banchero type of player. Good in the post, good enough with her passes, very creative, great size, knows how to use her weight. I like Anissa Morrow to be a top 5 pick in this draft. And then Dominique Malonga from France. She's a 6'6" Hakeem Olajuwon type of player. Like, just freakish looking athlete. Yeah, tall, long, lanky. She's gonna make an effect on the defensive side, and then offensively, she's got really good footwork and a good sense of the basket around where she is around the basket. So some players to look out for, man. The WNBA is in good hands. We'll talk about the contract coming up in a couple weeks because the draft is, like I said, the draft is next week. The league starts in a month after that. So within a month, they have to figure out this contract.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll definitely see what happens. Definitely appreciate the rundown there, Wiggs. Let us know what you think there, Brodies. Again, you need to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Click on the bottom right-hand corner and subscribe. We'll see how Paige and the Dallas Wings end up doing this year. If anything, what they need to do media-wise, they need to start creating some beefs, or some rivals or something. You know what I'm saying?
Paige versus Caitlin, that could be pretty good.
Yeah, they got to start doing like they did for the men. Like I just posted a story on the IG page. It was a throwback intro video with Jordan versus the Knicks, and the winner went to the NBA Finals. I think it was the 97 or 98 playoff.
Great rivalry.
Like the way they just hyped up that video gave me goosebumps, man. So it's like they got to find ways to generate a buzz, but we'll see how it goes after the draft, and hopefully they'll have a bargaining agreement done on time so there's no time missed here. But moving right along here, Brodies, let's go to the NBA, and let's talk about something that people really aren't. This year, it's been kind of down, right? The ratings have been down overall. The fandom is kind of diluted. We've already voiced our opinion on All-Star Weekend and LeBron and the fiasco with that, and just the total state of the NBA. But right now, there's two players that are still playing at a high level that are trying to keep the love of the game, if you will, alive, and that is Nikola Jokic and SGA. Now, right now, SGA is favored to be the MVP, but here at Brodies, we think that the Joker could make a case, and that's no laughing matter. Okay, is the Joker the real MVP? Honestly, I think he is. What do you think, Wicks?
Hey, I love that headline. First of all, let's give Code a shout out on that headline. That was kind of nice, man. There's no laughing matters, Joker. Okay, I like that. I see what you did there,
you know what I'm saying?
But yeah, no, I don't know how you say he's not. And this is where I say, if I'm a league, I'm going to define what the MVP means. If it's the NFL, is this a quarterback award? Like, let's just be real. Is the MVP a quarterback award? Because if it is, let's just say that.
Right.
We got players getting triple crowns. We got players damn near breaking the rushing record. Yeah, so let's just call it a quarterback award. And in the NBA, is it best player on best team? Because if it is, then it's SGA. Or is it the player with the most impact on their team? I think Jokic is accounting for over 45% of the points that the Nuggets are scoring. If Jokic has an MVP, the Nuggets have this percentage, a higher percentage of winning. If Jokic gets a triple-double, he's impacting, the win. And is he the most valuable player on his team? That's the question. I think it's Jokic because he just does so much points, rebounds, assists, he's averaging a triple-double. Westbrook has done it as a center. Westbrook has done it so much. It's crazy. Wilt Chamberlain, Russell Westbrook. I know it's another. Yeah, Oscar Robertson. Thank you, Co. Oscar Robertson. Like, these are all greats, top 10, top 20 greats of all time. So Jokic just putting up those type of numbers. And SGA is leading the league in scoring, but people call him a free throw merchant. We saw what happened to OKC when they played the Lakers. SGA gets no free throws. The Lakers win. The next game they play, SGA gets called on his free throws, gets his shot. OKC wins. So, again, the refs have an effect on these games. But when it comes to the MVP, I think I would give it to Jokic. And I think I don't think anybody would be crazy or wrong to give it to him.
there's no right or wrong answer because SGA is having a great year and he's young. And the fact that we're mentioning that the Oklahoma City Thunder are the number one seed, the fact that we're even mentioning that speaks volumes because that organization has botched superstar after superstar after superstar. They had 3 MVPs on one team with Harden, Westbrook, and Durant, and they botched it. They should have had 4 championships. But SGA right now, in comparison, he has played 76 games compared to Jokic's 67. He's played 34 minutes to Jokic's 36. He's averaging 32.7 to Jokic's 30. And he's averaging 5 rebounds a game to Jokic's 12.8. 6.4 assists to Jokic's 10.2. And like we mentioned off camera, SGA actually has averaging more blocks than Jokic, which is actually kind of funny. Mm-hmm. But Jokic has a 41.5% from 3-point line. Like he's shooting 41.5% from 3. SGA is 37.5. Like these guys are just chucking the ball up here, man. Like Jokic is 57.7% for field goals. SGA is 51.9. So like just looking at the stats,
God damn.
You know what I'm saying? Like the stats, like these are MVP caliber numbers for the both of them.
For both of them, yeah.
If you ask me, when it comes to an individual stat, like the most valuable player, to me, it's like, okay, if you were to take this person off the team, what would they do? I think it's clear to say if they took Jokic and SGA off their teams, they're not going to do as well, right? So They both check that box. Mm-hmm. But just from a stat standpoint, we got a freaking unathletic looking beer belly, 7 foot, you know what I'm saying, pasty looking, non personality having dude balling the hell out of niggas. Excuse me. He's averaging a triple double. Did you see that note pass he did the other day?
Nah, it's tough, man. Magic Johnson, like.
Yeah, he's a mixture of Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. Like it's crazy. Like Jokic right now, in my opinion, if he keeps this up, I don't think he's going to have the longevity like LeBron. But if he keeps putting up numbers like this, he could challenge the all-time scoring record. He could challenge a lot of things, man. And he's already got 3 MVPs. So like this dude, Joker, for me right now is the face of the league. You know what I'm saying? Like it's him, it's SGA. So once he gets that MVP, he's going to be welcomed into the fraternity. You know what I'm saying? John Moran, not Morant, Moran, John Moran. Okay. What's the dude that bought his kid out? Anthony Edwards. You know what I'm saying? He said, look, F them kids. I'll cut the check before the baby comes. That's what Anthony Edwards said. He said, how much is that kid worth? He said,
that's wild, man.
He said, he worth $200,000 a month in child support. Or I'll just cut a check for the full 18 years. Yeah.
Bro, that's wild, bro.
Like that's the going rate for Bopper Puss is $1 million. So you gold diggers out there, you know, all of y'all that are getting cock blocked by Jaden Daniels' mom, you can go to the NBA and put your womb up for sale for $1 million because that's how much it's going for now, apparently. But that's a whole other subject.
That's a whole nother subject. That's a wild subject. Bro.
Yeah, that's wild, right? Wow. So anyway, I think Jokic would be a perfect candidate for this year's MVP, but the NBA is notorious for fixing stuff that ain't broken. And they don't want certain people to surpass certain players. I love Jordan. We know this. But Jordan has been put on a pedestal, and it's damn near impossible for the masses to accept that he doesn't play anymore. You know what I'm saying? And like there are people out there that are just as good or better that could surpass him. Now, eye test wise, bias wise, I grew up watching Jordan and Kobe. There's never going to be anybody better than those two in my eyes. I don't care what they do. You know what I'm saying? But like Jokic, man, like he's not going to win MVP this year despite averaging a triple double.
You know let me that's what I was going to ask you, Ko. the 64 or 65 wins right now versus the Nuggets 47. Is it if Jokic was closer in wins, would that give him the MVP in your opinion? So you think it's the fact that because what is that 65 versus that's damn near 18 wins or so. So 18 more wins.
Difference in wins. The issue is whenever they're evaluating the MVP, they do take into consideration of stats, but the record is going to be the deciding factor.
The higher determinant. I think it was in the NFL as well. Josh Allen had a couple more wins.
You can't be the MVP and not be have the best team, which I think is stupid because I'm like, okay, what if that team that has the best record has better role players than the other team? Now, the Nuggets do have a pretty supporting role, good supporting roles, but I think this year, because they lost so many games, that caused their coach to get fired, and that's thrown off a lot of things. And I think that could affect them come playoff time. Like I had the Nuggets going pretty far, even though I had the Warriors and the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. But I mean, with their coach being gone, I mean, I don't know, man. It's like the heart's been taken out of the locker room, man. I don't know.
Now, we didn't even talk about the coaches, right? I'm not tripping, right?
Yeah.
That's wild, bro. Talk about the Anthony Edwards stuff is wild. The Nuggets just fired their coach with 4 games to go before the playoffs start.
I don't get it.
This is some mafia mob boss like these headlines are like somebody's trying to write this for a Netflix series. Like the way stuff is happening this season, because this is not the first coach to go in the last month. Taylor Jenkins, the Grizzlies head coach, was also let go less than a month ago.
Yeah.
This is just unheard of. These are white guys, coach. These ain't black coaches. Like, it's one thing for black coaches to get fired.
We expect
these are white guys,
fired, but not the white guys.
Hey, these are not the right guys.
That's not the right decision or the right decision.
You know? So this is kind of crazy to me. But again, 4 games before the playoffs start, Michael Malone is fired. What are your thoughts on that, Coach?
I don't like it. I think that's stupid. I mean, I don't care how much quote unquote dysfunction that you have in the locker room. You don't fire your coach 4 days before the playoffs. If you were going to fire him before the All-Star break. You know what I'm saying? But you don't do this during the last lap of the regular season, and now you're getting going to the playoffs. That doesn't make any sense. And I don't know what the issue was. I don't know if it was him having issues with ownership or him having issues with the players.
They said it was with the GM. They said it was him because they fired him and the GM. So they fire him and the GM, and I'll give you a little bit of background, Cole. Yeah. They fire him and the GM. They said that management wanted different starting lineups. You know, Westbrook has been a problem when it comes to LA. When it came to OKC had to break that lineup up. It was either Westbrook or Harden. They chose Westbrook. I think they made the wrong decision looking back on it. Westbrook in LA didn't work out, and now Westbrook in Denver has caused Denver to go from a team that won a championship with a 3-time MVP to a team that, again, Jokic is probably not going to win the MVP on the year that he's averaging the triple-double, and their coach gets fired. Yeah. Now, I'm not going to put all this blame on Westbrook, but like you said, that's a lot of dysfunction, and for them to do this with 4 games left, unacceptable. This can't happen. Yeah. So you're absolutely right.
You have to see it through.
You got to see it through.
You got to see it through. And then since you already plan on getting rid of him, once you lose whatever round, then you be like, all right, look, now we're going to part ways. Because now, if they get eliminated, I ain't going to say if, they're going to get eliminated in the playoffs. And now they don't have a scapegoat. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, well, if you were going to fire him after a playoff loss, then you can use him as a scapegoat and say, hey, it's not just working out. We're going to go in a different direction. But you fired him before the playoffs. So now if you lose, it's going to fall on you, the ownership and GM, than it is the coach.
That's a great point. That's a great point, Cole, because also let's say all this dysfunction is going on and they win the championship. Like, if you don't want him around and he can win you a championship throughout the dysfunction, you're crazy as an owner.
It's all
Because,
about
like,
winning, man.
that's exactly
Like,
what I was
the
gonna
ego,
say, Cole. Like, it's gonna be shit is gonna be happening all the time. Like,
yeah,
can you work through the shit? Look at
period.
what when Kobe Bryant had the rape case. This nigga had a rape case. He came out and dropped like 40, 50, 60 points.
A
Like,
game.
you got a game. Like, you gotta be able to work through your shit. And if you can work through your shit, like, that's even better. That's even more what you want from your coach, from your players. It's somebody who can have shit stuff that's going on, but when the bright lights turn on, it's like Allen Iverson would say, "Man, I ain't thinking about practice. What am I doing when the lights are on? When
It's all ego,
the
man.
whistle
Like,
blows."
it's pure ego. Like, these GMs, they turn everything into a dick measuring contest. Like,
That's facts.
they have
And
to.
they don't measure up.
No,
And they don't measure up.
no. You know what I'm saying? They come up short. So it's like, dude, you have a coach in the locker room that can galvanize the team. He's brought you a championship. I've never seen a league that fires more winning coaches. Just like
Right.
the coach that played in Toronto, won Coach of the Year,
Yeah.
and got fired
The next
Like,
year.
I don't get it. So it's going to be interesting to see how the playoffs turn out, man. All I can say is, if the Nuggets lose, they can't blame the coach.
So, do you think, now I guess this is going to be controversial. This is going to be conspiracy theory. Do you think this has anything to do with betting?
Everything has to do with betting now. Everything, bro. Like, betting, unfortunately, has influenced the outcome of sports more than what it should have. Anytime you got people taking, let's just say, like the Steelers and the Bengals, and they're like, "Oh, we're going to take the under, 3 points under or whatever," and they're right there, and then the ref calls some BS call, and then they kick a field goal and win by 6, or you got them winning by 6, and for some odd reason something stupid happens, and now they got a safety and they win by 2. Like, there's always some type of influence being implemented here, and I mean, the NBA is no different. So
yeah, and I was gonna say, we can go back to the first topic with Houston. Houston's up by 12. The over under is only 2. The over under is only 2 points. They're like, we can't let them blow this out. We got to make it closer. All right, refs start making calls. It goes this way. We get Luka Doncic to LA. We want to see LA go further. So let's cause dysfunction in these other organizations. All right, Denver, let's get rid of your coach. Grizzlies, let's get rid of your coach. You guys won't win in the playoffs. We can focus on Luka. We can focus on Boston with Jason Tatum. We can focus on, whoever else we want to be the face of the league. Anthony Edwards. I think they want Anthony Edwards to go further. So yeah, no, I think it's very interesting, because with the way betting is, like I said, these moves are like mafia moves. Yeah. These moves are made with entertainment at the forefront. Like, these moves are made like they want to make headlines. Like, we can't let the story die down. We've got to keep our numbers up. All right, let's do something big. Fire another coach.
Yep.
Trade another player. Like, this is crazy to me. And we'll see if this continues to go on, because the last 2 or 3 years in the NBA, we've seen big trades. We've seen, like you said, we've seen coaches get fired after winning championships. Michael Malone is only 2 years removed from winning the championship. So, again, he's got a 3-time MVP on his team. This is wild, but yeah, like I said, I think it is a conspiracy theory. I think it is a crazy thing to say, but if we hear a story about betting and maybe some coaches were involved or some players were involved, I would not be surprised a couple years from now, because if you pay enough attention, you can see it. You can see, the connections.
It's clear as day, y'all. But let us know what you think there, Brodies. Again, follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Click on the bottom right-hand corner and like and subscribe. Let us know what you think in the comments. But moving on, switching sports, we're going back to the gridiron, okay? We got another week before the NFL draft commences, and the Brodies here are all over it. We did our mock draft for the top 10 picks, and now we're moving on to the next part of the draft, picks 11 through 20. So are you mocking me? You're damn right we are. The Brodies are all over it. Wiggs, who you got for the number pick 11 with San Francisco?
All right, so the 49ers are back on the clock. And like I told you last week, Co, if I'm in this draft, where we are, if anybody wants to call me and come up 5 spots, 10 spots, I'm listening. That's the first thing I'm going to say. So if I'm San Francisco, I'm willing to go down. But if I'm going to stay here...
I've been very gracious these past couple of episodes. Yeah.
That's a wild one. That's a wild one. Hey, I'm willing to move down in the draft in my draft position.
Yeah.
And but I want to go. If I'm gonna stay here, I'm gonna go skill player, offense. Matthew Golden, the wide receiver out of Texas for the San Francisco 49ers. When I think about what the 49ers need, I just think about Brock Purdy. Let's start again. We start with quarterback. I'm good. I like Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy can get it done, but he needs players around him. We see what Brock Purdy is when Christian McCaffrey is good, Deebo Samuel is good, Trent Williams is good, Brandon Ayuk is good, George Kittle's good. Brock Purdy looks like Tom Brady. As soon as one of those, when he has weapons, as soon as one of those weapons gets hurt, who the hell? Kirk Cousins. All right, so let's get Brock Purdy another weapon. Matthew Golden ran a 4.29 at the 40 at the combine.
That's a good number.
Love a 4.29, especially at the wide receiver position. Matthew Golden looks like he has good hands. I would say the tape looks more like a 4.4, but again, if he runs a 4.29 and the tape looks like a 4.4, he's going to be fast. He's going to be able to get the job done. And again, with Brock Purdy, I know Brock Purdy is going to get it where it needs to be. So I think he can take over. I don't think he's a Deebo Samuel after the catch type of receiver. Luther Burden is a little bit more of that. So I wouldn't be surprised if the 49ers go Luther Burden here. But I think Matthew Golden might be. I always go with speed. So give me the speed over some of the other skills. Because if once I get past you can't catch me. So I'm going Matthew Golden. Cole, what do you think?
I like it. I used to tell my guys all the time when I was coaching football, they can't tackle what they can't catch. So Matthew Golden's got some speed. They need to replace the wide receiver position since they lost Deebo. Ayuk is still on the trading block, and he's nursing an ACL, so all they really have is Juan Jennings right now, so I definitely like the pick. Moving on here for pick number 12, we got the Dallas Cowboys. Now, they got a lot of cleaning up to do. Geriatric Jones has been doing some shady stuff, like trying to sign Michael Parsons under the table and all this other stuff, and trading for players that don't nobody care about. But, they got their quarterback in Dak Prescott. They got their wide receiver in CeeDee Lamb. I forgot his first name, but his last name is Williams, the running back from the Broncos. They just brought him in. Mm-hmm. But he's not going to be an every down back. So they need somebody that's going to help share the load, in regards to toting the rock. So I got the Dallas Cowboys selecting Omarion Hampton, running back out of UNC. What do you think, Wiggs?
Woo! All right. So I like the position. Pause.
Omarion bad right now.
Hey. I like, again, let's think about premium positions. Quarterback, left tackle, defensive end, wide receiver, running back again. Running back is down on that list, but running back is really the second most important position on offense. Like when it comes to quarterback, I'll say maybe third. I think quarterback, left tackle. I think running back could be the third most important position, and we just don't value it enough. You talked about it last week, Cole. You said it's pissing you off that we're not giving enough value to the running backs. We already have Ashton Genty going number 10. That was a great pick by you. You value the running back position, Cole. You went 10, you went 12, running back. This could make the Cowboys really good again. We saw what the Cowboys were when they drafted who's Ezekiel Elliott. The first 2 years, the Cowboys with Ezekiel Elliott running like he was, a rookie running back, just his best 2 years, some of his best years. The Cowboys were in playoff contention. They were in Super Bowl contention, It makes Dak Prescott look like a better quarterback. So
he won Rookie of the Year because of it.
He won Rookie of the Year. So again, it's a great position. I don't know why we don't value it, because my first thought really is it's a reach for Omarion Hampton. I think a little bit of the reason I think it's a reach is because I think Ashton Genty is the best. And I think the next best running back is not as good as him. And that's mostly just production wise. Ashton Genty produced numbers like Barry Sanders produced. And that's just not common. So nobody else in this draft produced numbers the way Ashton Genty did. I don't think that means there aren't going to be any running backs that are not comparable to him, because I think I think this running back class is actually really good. And I think a lot of them are going to go in the second round. And I think what you're doing, Co, is you're doing a little bit of a reach, but I think it's going to pay off, because this position can end up being one of the most important positions on the field, honestly. If you have a good running back, I mean, we saw what Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley did. And I think that tells you everything you need to know about how important a running back can be in the NFL. So I think that's a great pick.
Yeah, definitely agree. And coming in at number 13, we got the Miami Dolphins. Who do you got, Wiggs?
All right, so anybody that knows me knows I'm a Dolphins and Commanders fan. So this pick means a lot to me. We've got to get a good player from the Dolphins. I'm really, really considering who we can get at this pick. Tua is the quarterback. Like I said, we're always going to start at quarterback. I like Tua. We have a good line. We have a good enough line. We have a good running game. We have good receivers. The one thing we're missing on offense is a consistent tight end. So I'm going to go Tyler Warren out of Penn State here at tight end. I really think that he's the best tight end in this draft. I think he's quite possibly, we could have another Brock Bowers situation where he's leading the league, top 10 in receiving, and we're not talking about tight ends. We're talking about everybody. Mm-hmm. I think that's how good Tyler Warren is. If I'm a Dolphins fan, I'm ecstatic about us getting a player like this to go along with the receivers that we have. So yeah, Tyler Warren for the Dolphins. Co, what do you think?
I like the pick. They have a tight end there, but he's not as consistent like you mentioned. So I think Tyler Warren is going to be one of those picks that are going to be like he's going to be favored to go early because of Brock Bowers' success, right? Mm-hmm. Like they saw how good he was, and because normally you don't take no tight end in the first round, let alone the top 15, top 20, right? But Brock Bowers was so good, and these tight ends, they're becoming more of a hybrid wide receiver. You know what I'm saying? Like their size is right for the tight end position, but they're too small to be a tight end, but too big to be a wide receiver.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So they have like a hybrid type of role. So I like that pick. It gives them another weapon on offense. Definitely think that a more stable tight end will help Tua in the passing game because that boy can't take no more concussions, man. Like if they don't take, if anything, if they take Tyler Warren, cool. But if they don't, they need an offensive lineman. Period. One of the two, offensive lineman or wide receiver. So definitely like that pick. Coming in at number 14, we got the Indianapolis Colts. Now, this is like a limbo year for Anthony Richardson. You know, like they benched him more than once. He's been criticized for taking himself out of a game for being tired, but like he has a lot of potential and promise. So one of the biggest sayings in football is a rookie quarterback or just a quarterback in general who needs help, their best friend is a tight end. Now, since Tyler has already been taken off the board, I got the Colts taking the next best option at tight end, which is Colston Loveland, tight end from Michigan. What do you think, Wicks?
Colts get Colston. I love the headline. And I like Colston. I think he's not far behind Tyler Warren. Like if I'm getting Colston on my team, I feel like I got the best tight end on the board because he's that special. He's a big tight end. He can run really good routes. Coming out of Michigan, who has a running game, so you know they're going to run the ball all the time. I feel good about that. What's the Colts running back's name? I think you had him on your team. Yeah, I think you had him on your team. Cause I forgot about that part. So the Colts, you know, you get Colston Loveland. He's used to running the ball, but when it comes time to run that play action, he's going to be ready to make a pass, to make a catch. So I really like that pick. I think he can help Anthony Richardson out a lot. And I think, like you said, Cole, tight ends are becoming more valuable. Not only is it Brock Bowers, but who's Patrick Mahomes' number one receiver? Yep. Travis Kelce. Who is Tom Brady's number one receiver?
Yep, Gronk.
Tight end. Like when you think about who was Jaden Daniels' number one receiver, you could say McLaurin, but it was
the second was Ertz. Yep.
It was Ertz. So
Tony
whenever
Romo,
you think of
Jason Witten,
I'm telling you,
the list goes on.
Yeah, the list goes on and on. So a tight end is so important to any team, and the best teams use their tight ends really well. So I think those are two great picks, Tyler Warren and Colston Loveland. Yeah, I think we can move on to number 15, Coach.
All right, coming in at 15 with the Atlanta Falcons. Who do you got there, Wicks?
So the Falcons need a lot. We watched the Falcons play last year. Like I always say, any Kirk Cousins slander is welcome. So I'm going to take any chance I can get to slander Kirk Cousins. And Kirk Cousins didn't get it done last year. We had to switch to Michael Penix. The Falcons went first round draft pick. We're not going defense. We're going offense. We're taking quarterback, and they select Michael Penix Jr. Michael Penix comes in and shows the league that he's capable of being a starting quarterback. So now the Falcons can go defense in the first round. Mason Graham is still on the board. Mason Graham is projected to go early, but I think Walter Nolan is a better defensive tackle. And I think he's a type of person that I want on my line because he's not only big, but he's fast and he can get to the quarterback, but he's also strong enough to hold down and anchor a line. And I think that's just what the Falcons need is somebody to anchor that line. So I'm going Walter Nolan, defensive tackle out of Ole Miss. Cole, what do you think?
Yeah, like the pick. Their defense was one of the reasons why they didn't make the playoffs and also why they got their ass whooped out there in Washington. So I definitely like the pick there. They need to bulk up the defensive line. I mean, they got their running back. They got their wide receiver on Drake London. Kyle Pitts, I think, is still there. And They got I forgot the dude that came over last year at slot receiver, but they got weapons there on offense. So it makes sense to go defensive line. Makes sense. They're going to be out there in the NFC South, so they're going to be dealing with a lot of passing and a lot of running out there, especially when they play the Saints with that track meet they got with those wide receivers out there. So definitely like the pick there. Coming in at number 16, we got Arizona. Now, they can go either way here. They need some offensive weapons and they need some defensive weapons. But I think one of the easiest ways to help your offense is to improve the defense. So I got the Arizona Cardinals taking Mykel Williams, edge rusher out of Georgia. Like I said last week, if you want to get your defensive linemen, you go to Georgia. You want your running backs, you go to Alabama. You want your wide receivers, you go to LSU. And if you want your quarterbacks, stay away from Ohio State. But anyway, what do you think with that, Wiggs?
I like Mykel Williams. He goes 11 picks after his teammate Jalen Walker. And I think Jalen Walker is a little bit better on the offense and on the defensive line. I think Mykel Williams is a little bit bigger. However, he just doesn't have the burst that Jalen Walker has. But when you look at impact that he has on the game, he's still strong enough to make plays on the rushing game, to make an impact in the rushing game, and he's still fast enough and just plays with a strength and an aggression on the defensive line to make an impact on the rushing and the passing game. So I really like Mykel Williams out of Georgia. I think he can make an impact on the Cardinals team. I'm trying to think the last time the Cardinals had a defensive end that made an impact. I can't think of many.
But he was
JJ Watt. Yeah. That's what I was thinking about.
Did Calais Campbell play for them?
Yeah, he did. Yep. So I think Mykel Williams can be kind of along those lines, and that's all they need. Like you said, the best way to help a quarterback, let's get some defensive stoppers. I think Mykel Williams will have an immediate impact this year. So I really like that pick.
Perfect. Moving on to 17, we got the Cincinnati Bengals. What do you got there, Wicks?
Man, we know the Bengals were the Bungles last year, just finding ways to lose games. Offense is setting records. You got a triple crown receiver and you don't even make the playoffs. That's not a good look for the Bengals. And again, we just said it, the best way to help a quarterback is defense. So why not get a quarterback on the defense? I'm going to go linebacker, Jihad Campbell out of Alabama. Anytime you think about defense, defensive lines, defensively, even defensive linebackers, you think about Alabama, and Jihad Campbell was the leader on this Alabama defense. Now, Alabama didn't go as far as they've gone in other years past, but I think when you look at the team, it was a little bit of the quarterback not being able to get things done the way that their offense has done in the past. I think this team was good enough, and they just didn't have the offense that they've had in the past. Mm-hmm. So I think defensively, Jihad Campbell was a great leader, great all-around player, and let me get the charger on this phone. I think he can make an impact on the NFL, and the Bengals need help in a lot of different places.
Yeah. Their offense is set, like we said. They got their running back, they got their two wide receivers, and they got their quarterback all locked up. I don't know if they're that defensive end or defensive tackle. I think it was Hendrickson, the defensive tackle on the Bengals.
With Trey Hendrickson?
Trey Hendrickson, yeah, they got him. They'll probably end up franchising him maybe, but they need to plan for the future because they may not be able to sign him long term. So they need to bulk up the defense in some shape, form, or fashion. And if you can't get an edge rusher to rush the passer, the next best thing is a linebacker. So I definitely like the pick there. And he's from Alabama, so that speaks volumes there as well. But for pick number 18, we are going to the west side here, going to the Seattle Seahawks. Now, they just basically lost their two best wide receivers in Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. They got Njigma over there. He's obviously going to be their number one, but they need a legit number two now at wide receiver. Defensively, I think they're okay, and I think that if I think they can wait to the second round before they start taking defensive players. So offensively, they need some more help. So I got them taking Luther Burden, the third wide receiver out of Missouri. What do you think, Wiggs?
So the Seahawks just let go of Geno Smith. Did they sign a quarterback?
Yeah, they got what's his name? Sam Darnold.
Seahawks have Sam Darnold. Okay. Oh yeah, I see why they let Geno Smith go. Okay, I forgot about that. Okay, so yeah, you bring Sam Darnold. You saw what Sam Darnold did with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. So if I'm bringing him to Seattle, I got, like you said, I got an Njigba. I definitely would like another playmaker. Luther Burden III, I think he could have the potential to be the best receiver next year because of his after the catch abilities. I think he has the best after the catch ability in this draft. And I think that makes him really dangerous. And I can't wait to see what he can do in this draft. So I really like that pick for Seattle. Like you said, with DK Metcalf leaving, one of the things that people said about DK was he wasn't so much of a route runner the way you think of a Devontae Adams and maybe some other receivers that really, really run really good routes. DK is really more of a I can run go and I can catch it over guys. So Luther Burden can kind of come in, be a good route runner, a good after the catch guy. And with Sam Darnold, maybe he can turn that team into a better offense than even Geno Smith had it last year. So that's really promising for Seahawks. Like you said, they had a good defense. Let's bring in a good offense and see what we can do. So I like that for the Seahawks.
Yeah. And coming in at 19, we're going down to Florida, Tampa Bay. Who do you got picking at number 19?
So at 19, we saw Tampa Bay go against the Commanders twice last year. Did we win both of those games, or did we lose the one in season and we won? I know we won the playoff game, but did we lose the one in season?
Yeah, we ended up winning the playoff game.
But did we lose to them in season?
Yeah, week 1.
Okay. Right. That's what it was. It was week 1. So so week 1, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had their complete offense. Chris Godwin was still available. Mike Evans still doing his thing. Bucky Irving, we see the running back for Tampa Bay. So Tampa Bay's offense is legit. They also have Tristan Wirfs on that offensive line, that offensive tackle, one of the best tackles in the league. So Tampa Bay on offense, they're feeling pretty good. Again, they are probably waiting on Godwin to come off that ACL, but I'm thinking that a lot of these teams are feeling pretty confident about the ACL injury because you saw the investment in Stephon Diggs after the ACL injury, and you see the investment that Tampa Bay they re-signed Chris Godwin. Maybe they said Godwin could have got a little bit more money, but Tampa Bay gave him a decent amount coming off of ACL injury. So I think Tampa Bay is going to go defense in this draft. And I think the next best defensive back is Jahdae Barron, cornerback out of Texas. I think Jahdae Barron is the next like Charles Woodson type. This is a cornerback with great ball skills, with great athleticism. And I think he would really be maybe a better strong safety when the time comes, or free safety when the time comes, because I think his ball skills are elite. And I think if you put him at free safety, not so much that you want him to make tackles, but just that somebody that can play the backfield, that can see everything, play the field and see everything. I think Jahdae Barron is going to be one of the better defensive backs in the NFL for a long time. So what do you think about Jahdae Barron to the Tampa Bay at 19?
Great pick. I mean, like their offense has been locked up. They're investing in older receivers. But their running back is still young. Bucky Irvin's going into his second season. They got their quarterback in Baker Mayfield. Their offensive line is still pretty stout. I am going to question how potent their offense is going to be this year now that they've lost their offensive coordinator. But Baker Mayfield has had a different coordinator almost every year of his career. Like he switches OCs more than he switches draws. So I'm not worried about that. So I like the defense. They're going to need it because right now in the NFC South, they're going to go up against some high powered offenses this year. Like I think the Falcons are going to have a renaissance. I mean, they got Bijan Robinson. Like I said, they got Drake London and Kyle Pitts over there, and that miscellaneous guy that I can't remember. He was on my team, my fantasy team. I can't remember his name.
The receiver, right?
Yeah, he was a slot receiver. I can't remember his name, but he was pretty damn good. But yeah, they got to bulk up their defense over there. It makes sense. So definitely agree with the pick. Now, coming in at number 20 to wrap this round of the mock draft up here, we got the Denver Broncos. Now, they've had overall a pretty decent team offensively and defensively. They got Pat Surtain on defense. Their defense was actually pretty damn good last year. Offensively, they got Courtland Sutton. Now, they did lose their running back in Williams, but I don't think they're going to take a running back with the first pick in the first round. Two running backs have already come off the board, so I don't think anybody's going to be a copycat there. So I think, if anything, they're going to bulk the defense up a little more because they are in the AFC West, and they got Patrick Mahomes. They got the Raiders. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to have some people out there they're playing people that can pass the ball. So they're going to need to bulk up their defense. So I got the Denver Broncos taking Malachi Stark, safety out of Georgia. What do you think, Wiggs?
That's good. I think, especially with Jahdae Barron going off the board, I think the Broncos would be upset about that. I think between Malachi Starks and Nick Emanwara out of South Carolina, I think you have to really think hard about which of those two safeties you want to go. I think people say Malachi Starks is a more complete safety than Emanwara. Emanwara is kind of more of a raw talent, more size, more athleticism. He had that I think he had like the 4.3 40 at a safety size, which is just crazy for Emanwara. But Malachi Starks is playing on a defense that produced more. He just played the field as just a more complete player. So I think that's a good pick. Like you said, the Broncos defense is pretty good, and they're not bringing back Justin Simmons. I'm sorry, I think the Falcons had Justin Simmons, but the Broncos lost a safety, so they're going to need to replace this position. And I think Malachi Starks is definitely one of the top two safeties left on the board, so I don't think they can go wrong there. Again, G.I. Campbell is off the board. I think they could go linebacker, but the best linebacker is off the board. So at this position, you're kind of starting to either reach for a position or you're just getting the best available player. And I think the Broncos have to go defense. Their offense is coming along. But I think if they can get a DB like Malachi Starks or Emanwara, I think that would be a good thing for them.
Yeah, and the good news is they can get a replacement for their running back in the second or third round or something. So I think bulking up the defense is going to be their best bet because, like I said, they got to pay Mahomes twice a year. So and they got Justin Herbert twice a year. So it's going to be very pertinent for them to bulk up the defense.
All right, quick question. We're at number 20. Shedeur Sanders is still on the board. Mason Graham is still on the board. James Pierce and Derek Harmon are still on the board. Any of those names surprise you? Still being available 20 picks into the draft?
Well, I mean, obviously Shedeur Sanders, considering that he's been projected to go like in the top 5. But I just think right now with the needs of these teams, not everybody needs a quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you think about it, nobody in the top 10 outside of the Tennessee Titans need a quarterback. I mean, the Giants, they got their bridge quarterbacks, and everybody else has theirs. So it's going to be interesting to see where Shedeur falls. We may have a landing spot for him in next week's mock when we do picks 21 through 32. So you'll just have to stay tuned and see. But definitely shocked to see that Shedeur is still going to be on the on the list here. But like I said, if he doesn't get picked within the first 5 picks, he's going to be waiting. So we'll definitely see how that works out there, Brodies. Again, you need to be liking and subscribing on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Click on the bottom right-hand corner. That goes. That's it for the mock draft for this week and for this week's episode. Let us know what you think. Like and share, and also comment and let us know how you feel. But just to wrap things up. Next week we got the draft, so we're going to try to get the remaining weeks out to you before the draft starts. You know what?
2 weeks. 2 weeks away from the draft.
It's in 2 weeks.
So we got the WNBAs next week, and then the NFLs the week after that.
Gotcha. So we got time. A lot of the pro days are wrapping up, but like right now, honestly, I mean, your draft status is almost set in stone. You know what I'm saying? Unless something drastic happens and someone makes just like a controversial pick, but I'm liking where these picks are going. Once the draft comes, I think we can like hit them like with our parlays and let them know how many we hit out of the 32 picks. But until next week, y'all. It's Brody Sports Talk. Here's the Lord here, Co-World, hanging with the guy Wiggs. We'll see you next week, y'all. It's Brody Sports Talk.
Peace.